be heard, which is fair. They all have concerns which needs to be addressed. However, based on the conversation that was taken yesterday, everyone seems to have their priorities and wants to take that to the forefront. Everyone wants to essentially win with the loss of someone else. But that is essentially the wrong frame of mind for looking at this. And as Professor Mitchell mentioned earlier, the concept of this is to frame what this platform would be as an aggregator so that everyone can actually benefit from this. Dubai wasn't built on one person winning and everyone losing. The concept is to find the right balance and find what this value can be shared for each individual stakeholder. If you look at Uber, not necessarily the driver winning is the customer losing. They both have synergies within their own industry. The retailers will win. That does not necessarily mean the manufacturers will lose. They're each in their own defined industries. And the point of this platform is to realize how you want to maximize your own company strategy for the benefit of your customers. So if you realize that for yourself, you would not be focused on who else is doing what. You'd be in your own lane and focusing on how you can be more competitive in your own industry. Exactly. So that is where the platform comes in. And in this IT-enabled platform, specifically for the food and beverage industry, we're looking for how value can be created, essentially. How can we integrate all these different players and how can they find benefit for themselves? How can we move forward? How can we be forward thinking? How can we leverage ourselves to maximize and leverage our opportunities within the space? And we're going to be looking at the manufacturer's perspective and how they feel, as they rightfully should, how they feel they could leverage and provide value. And in this context of information, we all have information, but if we don't use it in the right manner, if we don't share it, it's essentially useless. So realizing that we all have each individual information and we all can benefit, and we should all realize where our interest lies and where we could possibly make concessions so we can all win as a group and not necessarily individually. So I think that's really crucial for this presentation, but we'll listen to the manufacturers a bit.
I'm going to be speaking to the manufacturer's perspective. And in order to come to our conclusions, what we really wanted to do is understand the manufacturer space in the Dubai region, in the Gulf region. And we potentially found out that it's quite different from what it is back home. A lot of the food here is imported. A lot of manufacturers actually are, they lie outside of the UAE region. So how can we facilitate that model to make sure that we are bringing value to the manufacturers through this platform, despite them being located outside the region? So like Professor Will, he sort of laid down the platform. So what we wanted to do is create a competitive advantage for the manufacturer space. And we could do that by lowering costs and differentiating. We wanted to speak to both and identify potential ways how we could both differentiate with the manufacturer space as well as lower costs. In order to differentiate, the first thing we looked at is establishing UAE as a big data artificial intelligence player in the food and beverage industry. And this is using machine learning and AI tools to really derive the key insights that you would get through the platform. What we did is identify, once you have this big data platform established, you can use that to streamline payment methods, to communicate across manufacturers. So it would help establish this huge idea around UAE being the big data leader in the space. The other thing was product differentiation. So you would have customer insights and sales data through this platform that would help you differentiate your product, that would help you identify which consumers are using what product, and potentially even lead to loyalty programs. Like currently, we know a lot of retailers are leveraging loyalty programs. And I think it's harder for the manufacturers to leverage loyalty programs because there's a huge sort of gap between the brand and the consumer. And this platform will bridge that gap. And finally is establishing the manufacturer industry as more corporate around the whole CSR perspective, more environmentally conscious to reducing food waste and more socially responsible. We think that this platform will help reduce food waste, but also establish the entire manufacturer space as an industry that's socially responsible. And we have known that when industries do take that step, that leads to higher revenue generation. The other aspect of this is lowering costs. So how can this platform help manufacturers lower costs? The first thing is data tracking. This will give us access to a whole lot of data that will help reduce our variable costs. And we know in manufacturers, it's there's a machine, there's a fixed cost investment, and the only way you can really drive to lower costs over time is to reduce your variable costs. So some of this information will help you drive those cost savings. Additionally, forecasting demand. So in terms of having safety capacity and having increased holding costs, like how can you use this data to forecast demand accurately so that you're minimizing those holding costs, you're minimizing that safety capacity, and you're using just-in-time ordering from the manufacturer's perspective. And finally, I think there's a quality piece as well. We want to minimize the defect costs, we want to minimize recall costs. And through this data, you're able to streamline which products are more susceptible to recalls and which products are more susceptible to defects, that you're able to sort of identify those products and see that how is it that we can minimize on those costs as well. So like I said, sort of bucketing the advantages within differentiating and lowering costs that will really help manufacturers increase their margins, increase profitability, and establish themselves as a socially responsible industry. So this sort of gives us you an outline of that, but those are the key points we want to talk about.